Welcome.
All right. Thanks for having me. This time it's your invitation. So yeah, I'm really excited to go through this. I think as an introduction, we want to explain, I guess, that this is a demonstration of what is visual coaching, or maybe you have another name for it.
Journey mapping, mind mapping. Journey mapping is probably the more appropriate.
And why I'm really interested by this is that obviously Mon Expansion is all about creative industries and using symbols and visual clue to indicate or basically to support um, people to help understand themselves is really key here. So it looked like super simple, and I guess we're gonna me as a guinea pig to explain a little bit what is it about and how it works under your guidance. So yeah, I guess if you want to explain it a little bit differently or more, or just some of it, that would
Sure.
be good.
Yeah, great. So the mind map, we've done this once together, and I think it was an interesting experience. So the second time, I want to do it a little bit more organized to give you a better idea of how I was setting it up in the background.
Mhm.
So you can see here, and for anyone viewing, there's a simple quadrant, just a square. And this is a
Yeah.
way of looking at whatever we're dealing with. Either it's a conflict or a confusion in the negative, or also an
Mhm.
opportunity, something in the positive. It's to look at it from four different sides. And so it's split into
All
a
right.
quadrant. And this is a mind map where you're not just throwing ideas, which we will also do, but it's also looking at the relationship of one idea to the other, or different components of the problem or the opportunity. And why this is really helpful is that uh, usually we just write pros and cons lists when we're making major decisions. But with this, there's a little bit more realism at play because we're looking at four elements, and we're looking at these four elements not just how they stand, their position, but also where they're oriented, meaning where the component or the parts of your issue are facing.
Got it.
You can, you can think of this sort of like in context of work, for example, your boss at work or your supervisor. Sometimes we feel like the supervisor is next to us, looking at the problem with us. Sometimes you feel like the supervisor or boss is in front of you, ahead of you, looking at the problem.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're facing away from the problem towards you, and it can feel like they're against you or protecting something. So all this orientation makes a real difference in how we approach opportunities and conflicts. So
Yeah, it makes
that's
sense to talk about orientation because it's a pathway, so you know where to go.
exactly. In computers now, this is coming out as spatial intelligence, which is your ability to know your environment and how you interact with your environment. And this is a little bit the same thing, spatial intelligence, but within the mind. So if you have a
Yeah.
visual of a map in your mind, it's a lot easier to approach things in being embodied afterwards.
Mm. And this is a 2D version, but you're also working on a 3D version.
That's correct. In this can be done on paper in a 2D version, but it really comes to life when you can experience it in 3D. So this is based on systems thinking and systemic constellations, where people embody different parts of the conflict or the opportunity, and they're using the actual body to read information. So you can literally feel a representative of your boss facing you or being beside you, being behind you, which setup feels the best. Where do you react the best? Things like that.
Got it. Even more intuitive.
Even more intuitive and also a lot more engaging because it's people rather than
Yeah.
just doing it on paper.
Tapes. Yeah.
Exactly. But since we can do this in the digital world, it's also really helpful to do it in 2D. So we have this whiteboard open on Zoom, and you can see here there's a quadrant, and there are
Yep.
4 tokens, or we'll call them tokens for now, to represent different components.
Got it.
So you'll notice there's a square, 2 triangles, and a circle. And each one has a little smaller white square, white triangle, black dot.
Yep.
The white dot just represents where you're facing.
Mm-hmm.
So the triangle is upside down, but the bottom is facing down. And to give you a quick overview of the what they mean, each one is completely different. So in a lot of ways, the square is representing everything that's solid and material. The earth element. The green pointing downwards represents the water element, or everything that's liquid, things about feelings and emotions. The circle underneath represents air. So anything that's about exploration, freedom, is represented by the circle.
Like a bubble.
Like a bubble, cyclical. And the blue triangle represents fire. So moving up, it represents energy. So anything where you have to use energy, movement, and all of that. So
are the colors set up by purpose, or it doesn't matter?
The colors are set up by purpose. The first thing people usually ask me is, why is fire blue and not red? I'll answer that right away. Fire is actually blue. In reality, fire is blue. The hottest part is blue, and then it turns red. That's the actual color split.
Yeah, true. Like
And
the gas flame.
Exactly. And earth here represents like reddish brown. Green representing water, but also represents like love and like liquid, and the white representing air.
Got it.
This is also RGBA. So red, green, blue, white, which is in our computer screens, a color code for LEDs. And here I have some notes. So these are what we're going to use. We're going to use the tokens to place them in the map. We're going to the issue you want to deal with in the center. And we're going to write notes about brainstorm about all your concerns, your ideas, anything that comes into mind. We're going to write them in the notes for you. And then we're going to start.
Got it.
Okay.
So to discuss something that is really matter to me, I guess I need also to be vulnerable here.
Yeah.
And I think what matters the most at the moment is that if I look at it, I'm investing a lot of energy into creating my future, not only as an employee but also as a creator. And this is something that is coming back a lot, whether when I'm listening to podcasts, is that you put a lot of energy, but you don't know if that's going to go or lead somewhere. There is an uncertainty, and it's not that I'm doubting about my process. It's more that I'm kind of fearing that because right now I feel like I'm on the top of my game. Like I put all the energy I can into it, And if it doesn't work, it's going to be really devastating, like, I don't know why I can do more, because I'm really trying to balance out everything, not to do, because there is a smart way to do it and there is a really dumb way to do it when you can burn yourself and all that. So right now I'm more.
Oh, Julien, you have cut off.
Almost like samurai trying to adjust everything. You froze. Can you still hear me?
You cut off for a while.
Yeah, you can still hear me.
I'm trying to repeat what you said. You're
Yeah.
saying that you're putting in a lot of energy and you're at the point where you want to see whether that'll give you a return.
Yeah, and I know I'm gonna need to wait. At
Mhm.
least, for me, I counted 3 years.
Mhm.
It just that, um, yeah, uh, uh, having some sort of maybe reassurance that I'm well aligned with that. So even if it doesn't work, then I know I went to the right direction. I'm not sure if that makes sense.
It does. It does. If you let me reframe it a little bit, I believe what you're describing is the law of harvest,
Yeah,
which is
sounds like it.
when you farm normally in nature, when you put in a lot of energy, you expect crops to grow.
Yeah,
Back in the day, if a tornado, if nature happened, if there was a drought, you just didn't reap what you sowed. And normally, if you're living in community, people would come together and they would make sure you were still okay, even if
yeah,
you didn't. But in the modern world, we don't exactly have that system. So we don't have that active yet. So we're still putting in energy into business ventures, into ideas, but the market doesn't always give us what we sow.
yeah.
So I'm going to quickly write down a few notes that I heard you say, and then we can edit them as we go along. And I think you have control as well. So I think you can type in as well. Uh,
Yep.
so I heard you talk about energy invested.
Yep.
In terms of time, I'm going to put that in a solid. Actually, I'm going to put that in your projected time. So 3 years.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
What else is coming to mind about
Balance. Keeping the
balance?
balance. It's like you're training hard, you're working hard, but you're still balancing out and you're still enjoying the process in the meantime.
Okay.
It's
So
it's not about ultimate suffering, right? It's really
right.
about building something which is sustainable.
Right. So in a way you're talking about enjoying the process because it feels balanced.
Yeah.
So I'll put balance, enjoying um, I would put both worlds, work and play, or would you add more worlds than that? Or enjoying both for now. We can edit this as well after.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I guess it's because I tried the hardcore version,
Mm.
and because it was unbalanced, I saw that it's not sustainable. So sustainability really also something that I care for. Having a strong base so you can build on top of it.
Right. So I'm going to put sustainability in something more material because it's more physical.
Yeah.
Sustain. Okay. Are there
And
any
lastly,
elements?
I would.
Hmm?
Sorry.
Are there any other elements that are coming to mind?
Yeah, intelligence, like being
Intelligence.
wise, not being. And actually, two things: being wise, intelligent. Uh, by that I mean listening to myself what feels good instead of jumping on everybody else's ideas that seems good. I think
Hmm.
some kind of that's why I mean alignment. It's really about, does that make sense based on my experience, based on what I'm projecting to be,
Hmm.
where I want to go or not? And so it requires some kind of um, my strong suit is to be nice, but
Hmm.
actually it doesn't have to be nice in those circumstances. It's
Hmm.
about being true to yourself, right?
Right. So in a way, being flexible enough to be strict when you need to be strict and flexible when you need to be flexible, but coming from a place of alignment within yourself.
Yeah, keeping that alignment, it's a top priority, and not being deviated or moved away from where I'm deciding to go.
Mhm. So we call that focused as well, I guess,
Yeah,
alignment.
keep the right focus. Yeah. hmm because that, I think, the issue when you're 30 is that you're not focused. You're really trying so much stuff that at some point you're nowhere, right?
Right.
And now I'm really like, okay, um, I know me better, and this is who I am, and I want to go there and nowhere else.
Okay, great. We have a good few things there. Um, are you able to control the space? I'd like you to take any of the elements, and I'd like you to place them anywhere in the quadrant. So you're
Yeah,
first talking about you're moving the balancing and enjoying both elements.
yeah, yeah.
So place it where you'd like. Great.
Can I turn
Yep.
them like
You
this?
can turn
Yeah,
them. Yeah. So right now it's facing the center. Okay.
yeah. 3 years. That would be uh, yeah, that would be the projection. If it's a curve, would be on the top of the curve.
Okay.
Sustainable alignment, focus. That would be really the core of it.
Mm.
And invest energy invested. That would be the base that fuel everything.
Okay.
Let's say.
Great. So this is a first placement, and it's sort of like to get used to what the map looks like, where it's oriented. You notice I didn't
Yeah.
put any markings on this on the X or Y axis. So there's no
Yeah.
indication as to what it is. The first placement is just about what groups together and what is outside.
hmm
So right now, your projections for 3 years, your wisdom and your intelligence is sort of like a sentry on the outside. It's sort of like a guard
Yeah.
outside of your map watching the whole thing.
Yeah.
And what you're wanting to come together for now is in really the most important thing is like sustainability, alignment, and staying focused.
hmm
The energy invested almost has its back.
Yeah.
And on one side you have your intelligence and all that aligned with your balance, like both. That's it's informing your balance
hmm
towards. So we've talked a little bit around what's happening for you in terms of the business, but now we need to link it with what it's providing outside for people, because you're either providing a service or a product. And it would be great if you could share a little bit about those things so that we have more context.
Yeah. So doesn't matter if it's through my own services or being at services to another company. It's
Mhm.
really about making a difference for people. And
Mhm.
actually changing the way companies are supporting people. Like instead of stopping the support to people where it go to private life or private matters, actually this is where I stop. So usually you would say, okay, that's not a professional realms. It goes into, go to see a, how do you call that, therapist or a coach, or do whatever you want, but get ready at work. And it's really separated, right?
Yeah.
But I want that to be integrated.
Great.
Because for me, we pretend that works is separated from life or private life, but they really intertwine. And if a business is courageous enough to be able to integrate that part into it, that's what I want to be used for. Is to make that integration for this to work within the business environment. So whether being an employee or whether providing the service myself.
Okay, amazing. So out of the four elements, which element do you think that is the most?
Well, sustainable, because then actually you would prevent people to, basically you're reinforcing your crew by um, one of the key point, let's say weak point from really senior employees sometimes is self-esteem. So by working with those parameters and you reinforce their own self-esteem, then they can provide and participate more into the business. So it's about, you don't want to have a turnover. I know that business owners like to say, "Oh, it doesn't matter. I'm just gonna get someone else."
Right.
But it just sucks. You want to keep the right people, the good people into your team.
So
And
what I love about what you're saying is that I asked you as well where you saw it, and you spoke about the quadrant of stability and structure and almost a guarantee or security. But when you're first expressing yourself, you were really talking about like the heart, the liquid part of a company where people like being there and they feel balanced and they feel good. And if they feel balanced and good, they will stay and work. They'll feel more like it.
exactly,
Exactly. So what's really interesting is that your focus is really on the heart and the feeling part of things, but you're doing it because you want companies to stay together.
yeah. Because for me right now, the companies are doing the other way. We're gonna provide you benefits. We're gonna provide you hardware, blah blah blah. We're gonna provide you, right project. So everything that a regular company can provide, but actually that's the thing at the end that the employee care the least. Out of all my the exit interview I'm doing, number one always is the people I work with
Right.
and how they are treating me. If they're supportive to me, if I'm able to contribute to them. So that is only working if you have people that balance themselves to be able to contribute to other and the other way around. So I witnessed the fact that even if a company doesn't have a great culture, people are creating the culture by themselves. They don't need the company for that.
Right. Exactly. So now is a perfect moment to start talking about the quadrant right now. So you're providing a service to a company, and you want these things for yourself.
Yeah, on top. Yeah,
Exactly. And you want to make sure that you're getting this while providing something for the company.
yeah.
So we're going to say that the company is right in the middle.
Okay.
Okay, we're going to put the company in the middle. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to copy, I'm going to take this and I'm going to copy it over, and I'm just going to make this black to differentiate it. So this is going to be the company.
Got it.
Okay. So right now we focused on you and we focused on what you wanted in the middle. I want you to think of it as if the company is coming to you, not you're going to the company. So this is the company. I want you to place it in the map wherever your intuition tells you to place it.
It was cutting out for
Sure.
10 seconds. Can
I
you
want you
just
to
repeat?
take this block, which represents the company, and I want you to place it by intuition anywhere in the map.
Okay. So the company that I want to serve, right?
Yeah.
Could be several companies.
Could be several companies.
Yeah. Um, mm, 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 mm. Yeah, I guess they go here because they align with the rest of it. Yeah.
And now remember that where the black dot is where they're facing.
Ah, you're right.
So you're
Um,
looking at it from above. You want to imagine that you're looking at the entire map from above.
yeah. Yeah. And I'm looking the company from under to
Exactly.
understand them. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's really accurate because I don't want to provide solution that doesn't matter for them. It's really about understanding and seeing, what's important for each parties.
Mm-hmm.
By that I mean, the executive board, they really need to make profits,
Mm-hmm.
and then for them to stay balanced, understanding that um, people are working for that too,
Mm-hmm.
but people are maybe, you know, they're not there to make profit. We make profit to make sure people have fun. That's the twist maybe. That
Mm-hmm.
sometimes we lose track of it. Is like the profit is first, and people are just here to make profits. But
Right.
when you think about it, human experience is more about, hey, let's have fun creating valuable stuff so we can make profits.
Right.
So that's really important.
It is. I'm going to write it here just so you're also clear. Top view. So you're describing in a way culture of a company that
Yeah.
values the feeling in the company, the culture, um, more than just the profits. And we
It
both
goes
agree
really hand in
they
Yeah,
go
it goes really hand in hand. It's just that the profit is a consequence of the good experience of humans.
exactly. That distinction is really important. That in your mindset, the profits are a consequence. That means that they come after the good, uh, the good culture. There are many companies that start with the money first. Once they have the money, then the culture gets good because they'll pay people better, etc. You're trying to
Okay.
reverse that or at least equalize it.
Yeah, even reverse, because I really think that if you have a great culture and a great time and really good people,
Mhm.
balance working together, profits is inevitable. Right? It's going to happen for sure. No
Right.
question about it. Yeah.
Especially when everyone is doing their best and they feel good and they believe in the company's vision.
Yeah.
So, from the top view, I want to point out that it looks like you're coming to the company from behind. So, their head is here and their back is
Yeah.
here. So,
Yeah.
you're coming from behind.
Yeah. Because it's more working about the you have the front store and the back office.
Okay? Yeah.
It's more about understanding what's going on behind the curtains.
Uh-huh.
So yeah.
Okay. So how do you feel in this sense about approaching them? If you're approaching them from the back end, um, it's a different approach than if you're coming through the front door.
Yeah. Yeah, it means that I need to know them for them to allow me to see what's behind. It's really a relationship, and also it's a partnership because I get why profits go first. It's something you can calculate. It's something you can plan ahead. It's finance. It's reassuring.
Mhm.
While humans, they're everything opposite, right?
Right.
So of course you're gonna go with number first, but I guess it's also about providing the map of what's happening in human minds with those kind of tools, but also other kind of tools that can be shared. So basically, providing a little bit more predictability
Mhm.
about what humans gonna do, not to control, but to reassure also that hey, um, I'm thinking of the games, the Sims.
Right.
You have to, you know what to. There is few things you have to do to make sure they're not crying and they're not dying. You have to support them to
Exactly.
this few things. So that's something you can plan ahead. It's easy to. That's the base for them to just come at work and do the base minimum. But then what I want to provide is the next level. It's like,
Mhm.
okay, you have everything you need just to come here and to do the work like you would do everywhere else. But here you have something special that you give you 100%, even more.
Mhm.
And that's something that require a bit more insight of human psychology, leadership and all that stuff that are spread across a little bit everywhere into different company, but without a guidance, without a pathway like we do now.
Right. So, having said all that, I'd like you to imagine that this is a person. This is the
Hmm.
company. So this company is facing this way, and they're dealing with some problem, some service that they're providing, something's going on over there.
Yeah.
I want you to feel into behind them is four parts of you. So literally behind them, there's a part of you that is sustainable, focused, reliable. There's an
Yeah.
energy force behind it. And then there's a focus of balancing your personal life and your other life facing.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah.
behind you have three components behind them. And on the right side to them, they can barely see a little bit of this part of you that's intelligent and wise and thinks about things. I want you to move the different components around to see if there's a better positioning for you.
I would go to move the company, maybe.
Great. You have to click both at the same time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Um, because yeah, it depends where the company is, where I'm taking care of it. Because if it's there, it feels to me that it's kind of in a bad shape. Not sure why. Bottom left of the curve.
Uh-huh.
Um, but let's assume they're unbalanced. I would see it here,
Okay.
and so they're looking towards the top right of the curve. For me, it's like they want to go here,
Okay. Great.
and then the balance would be something that would come for both, like pushing both, because it's something I would like for both.
Amazing.
Yeah, something like this.
Okay. Are there any other
Um,
changes?
and the energy invested obviously would need to go in both places. So I think they just go align side by side,
Hmm.
push both square. And why not having this one looking also to the same direction? So it's like a flow.
Nice. That's
Yeah.
okay. And what about your 3-year plan?
Yeah, I guess to really be able to measure
Hmm.
3 years is also a good target for company
Hmm.
to look back 3 years after and say, oh wow, we now at the top of our game. Our employee, our best ambassador.
Hmm.
We changed him from regular employee to talking about us all around. Uh, they invite them, their family to our events. We're just a completely different company. I think it requires a little bit of time. So 3 years is appropriate. It just can go a little bit closer.
That's good. So
Yeah.
also right now, it's facing upwards.
Mhm. Ah,
Uh,
yeah. Right. Yeah. It has to look at them both. It's like
okay.
almost like a god looking at them.
Yeah, yeah. That's usually what our internal vision ends up being. Either the company vision, the individual vision. That's what it ends up being. And when employees have internal visions that are different from the company vision, that's
Yeah.
where things end up splitting.
Just that one would need to look at both the other way because it's almost like you know the gatekeeper making sure and the company and the other elements stay like sustainable,
Hmm.
not going crazy like unbalanced. But
Exactly.
this here, yeah, this is also here. So yeah, I guess this one is making sure things are still making sense over time.
Right. Good. Um, so if you can, on the side, I'd like you to open up a text and
Hmm.
I'd like you to write, you could write it somewhere around here. So the first thing that comes to mind to what you'd have to provide in terms of sustainability, alignment, and focus to yourself.
Hmm.
And then the second thing is what you'd provide in sustainment, alignment, and focus for the company.
Okay. Um,
And you can just make it short words.
Goals.
Hmm.
Focus on goals for myself. It's like I really have. How you say that? Um, I'm looking for the word in English. Like big goals. Like it's not just. It's about having a big impact. So goal and impact in terms of yeah, company culture. So oops, I'm trying just to extend it. Here you
Yeah.
go. Um, but here we go. Company. Oh, yeah, whatever. It's culture. Yeah, big positive impact. Let's say. So that's for myself, making sure. Well, I'm already talking about the company here.
Yeah.
So for me, it's more the goal, and then expansion of the structure. So not working alone, really having a team.
Mm-hmm.
That's really important. Because it's almost like managing people
Mm-hmm.
is almost like if I have a strong team, I can definitely also make sure we generate other strong team, not only by myself.
Right.
Uh, and then for the company, yeah, for them to make profits
Mm-hmm.
and share it and grow, continue to grow that way.
Great.
Yeah,
So
that's the first.
it's great. You put it in the actual order, which is the first one you mentioned, which is really about the culture
Mm-hmm.
and making a case that when the culture works well and people are happy, they perform better and they produce more, which should reestablish that law of harvest where you reap what you sow. Which again, different in a company and the market versus nature. The market is still right now like the Wild West, but there's more control within a company than there is in nature. So
Yeah.
yeah. So the next thing you want to write down is what are the energy that you're willing to invest for yourself, and then what is the energy you're willing to invest into that company.
Like on the other side.
You can write it underneath.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So for myself, every spare time, basically. It's meaning that not interested by watching movie anymore.
Mhm.
If it's not serving the purpose, it's like almost having alignment. If everything I consume is basically aligned to what I'm doing, if not, I don't feel the need to consume
Good.
it.
Good. That means you're living on purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's literally you're aligning now all your stuff with the company so that it's a perfect alignment what they want and what you do. We're writing generalities right now, but we're going to have to go a second pass and put things much more precise.
Okay.
But the first pass, we have to go through everything in a broad sense first, because there
Okay.
might be some links that mix. So all your energy, all your spare time is the energy you're willing to invest.
Mm.
What energy would you want them to invest?
Um, Time to share knowledge.
Time to share
Uh,
knowledge.
well, yeah, being considered as a partner, not only as you know, do something good and let's
Hmm.
see, but
Hmm.
more being integrated, I would say, and that requires energy for sure.
Right.
Yeah,
Anything else?
not that I can see for now.
Right. Then, in terms of balancing, which is like the culture, your own need to have a balanced life, and
Mm-hmm.
for them, what is it that you would bring for them, and what is it for you? What is balance really for you?
Yeah. At some point, it would be to have um, my family working with me.
Okay, that's good. Okay.
And first just my wife and my son, later my daughter, but
Hmm.
then also expanding that
Hmm.
ring.
Right.
And so that would be for me the ultimate balance
Hmm.
somehow.
Yeah.
It's really idealistic, but meaning that we are actually engaged on the same front. It's not like, oh, you're doing this and I'm doing that, and we're not really communicating. And yeah, for the company, um, what come to my mind is like for them to being more because of the system, because of the support, being more resilient to risk, almost feeling that they can take more risk because they have the support of their crew,
Hmm.
or they can trust better their crew.
Right.
Because I really have a empathy for the executive. We always in demand or in waiting for them to do something amazing, blah blah blah. But they are really in a difficult spot most of the time.
Right.
So it's about for them to be balanced, because if they are unbalanced, everybody pays for it.
Right.
So I would say execs being balanced, but with whatever that means.
Okay.
So yeah, balanced leadership.
Okay. Anything else?
Yeah, some um, expansion of the sustain the maybe that would be more the sustainable alignment focus would be for the company then to have a broader impact. Maybe inspiring other companies to do the
Hmm.
same, having that kind of new way to see what is work. So yeah, having that expansion. So we think about work differently. It's not anymore about one person and one little group owning the capital and everybody else just coming in to do their share and going home and have a tiny share. It's more like because your people are so engaged, you cannot treat them like just minions anymore.
Right.
They contribute so much that you want to contribute, you want to consider them as really stakeholder,
Right.
important stakeholder.
So you're describing the fourth quadrant, which is a lot about the vision that the company projects out into the world, into
Mhm.
the culture and the world. Um, so that would be the fourth, the white. That would be what you
Yeah,
would want in terms of them, in terms of vision.
yeah. I would put it here. Whoops. Um, so um, so first for them, impact, inspire for the business, businesses, business. And for me, good question. Let's say, what would be the next step if that works with few company, right?
Right.
Uh, and it's just funny because it came to my mind, politics.
Politics. Yeah.
Politics, yeah, weirdly enough, because it feels like, but not politics like how it's made now, but more like a company being more invested into what's happening within the city, within the environment. So it's not so much, some elected random people that are going to decide for, a whole community. It's actually the businesses as congregation, because they are actually here and they're doing work and they're, you know, having people being engaged with them. They are deciding what's going on here in this geography. It's not anymore, politician. Politician will not exist anymore. It would be business that also decide for the environment, the infrastructure. Um, they together became a board that actually engage subcontractor to make the roads, to make this and that and that. So you have, it's more like acting as a business, not as an elected politician that doesn't know much about the real craft.
Hmm. I'm
So there
hearing
is
you.
no, the point is there is no one, there is no group or face that represents a group to decide what needs to be done. It's actually, there is no need for a leader when it comes to infrastructure. It's something that can be managed by a group. It works. That's how company works. So and maybe not being centralized by the states that much anymore, but I'm just going too far away now. uh,
That's fine. It's
yeah.
good to do that because that's what expansion of inner vision ends up doing.
Yeah.
I'll tell you from the outside listening to you, what I heard was almost, and this is, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but as soon as you heard about inspiring other businesses, you immediately linked into, if that worked, there's almost no limit for you because
Yeah.
if it works, that means what you've done is successful. The vision of the company has spread. That means what you've provided them with has worked, which means it works everywhere. And it's natural for your psyche, your mind to go, well, that ends up going into what else can you provide service to? And that goes into, well, outside of business, it's policy, it's laws, that's government, that's politicians. And then I saw you actually pull back from that once you realize, well, you don't actually want to go into politics, but you want the vision to go out.
Yeah.
And then it started to pull back when you start realizing, well, when it pulls back, the reason it pulls back is because the real people doing the work understand how it functions in real life. And the people sometimes making the policies aren't on the ground floor with infrastructure.
Exactly.
You know, like the people building the roads probably know a lot more than the people talking about the
Making
ideas, yeah, about the road.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's sort of what the map is for. It lets your psyche explore, bounce around. And now that we've said all that, let's bring it back to centralizing what you see. So you're writing down politics because I feel like that might be a long-term vision that's fair.
just supporting politics.
Nice.
That would be more accurate. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. That's great. So we put down a bunch of ideas. You put them a little bit all around. Um, now it's time to do one more round, a second round over it. But this time, after we've gone through everything, I'd like you to write down some specifics for each one. So we'll go through them one by one. So in terms of stability, alignment, and balance, there is you and there is the company.
Yeah.
So right now, the company's facing one direction, and you're positioned to look at them a little bit from the side. I want you to notice in the map, you're not looking at them face to face, from behind. You're sort of aimed at maybe the back of their back end, how they're working from the side. That feels right
Yeah.
to you? It feels right to you? You froze, so I'm not sure. That's why I was asking twice. I'll wait till it comes back on.
Yeah. About what they show to the world. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I was saying I don't really care what they show to the world. It's more about what's happening in the back, what people are really living into it.
Great. So now in your personal goals and then the goals for them, I'd like you to write down the first 2, 3 words that come to mind as to how you would show up physically in alignment. And then for them, what does that mean as well, like in a concrete version?
So
And
how can you repeat the question?
sure. So first for you, next to your goals, you said you had goals.
Yeah.
We want to write down goals in terms of how you would show up if you saw this company and you could see the back end.
Okay. That's a good question. As advisor, in a way that advisor with comprehensive tool.
Great.
And basically helping people to use the tool
Amazing.
for themselves. Yeah.
I hear in what you're saying, giving them some like sovereignty, empowering them so that they can use something, and it's something in the back end. So you're
Yeah.
not showing up to help them market. You're not helping them to show. You're helping them back end with people, with a tool. It's almost as if you're, in terms of like a bodyguard, you look like you have their back. You look like they have their, you're covering their 5 to 9 almost.
Funny that you mentioned that. I wanted to be a bodyguard when I was young.
That might be the right word to use. Advisor, you might want to throw in the word bodyguard there.
Yeah, good point. My uncle is also a bodyguard.
Interesting.
Yeah. And like a really, really important one from
Yeah.
some French politics. Politics.
Yeah,
And it,
that's great. That gives a different vibe than,
yeah,
than if you were doing IT as well, you could be a bodyguard. But here it looks like you're looking out for the the stability of the company through the people.
yeah, because it's really about for them
Hmm.
own self-esteem,
Hmm.
and if they feel strong, then they can tackle more difficult, more challenge, more uncertainty. They're ready for it.
Amazing.
Hmm. It's It's funny how you can connect,
Yeah.
you know, words with um, intent, because it's
Yeah.
clarify the intent actually I have. It's
Hmm.
almost like an intuition that I can write down now.
Right. Yeah. That's the beauty of looking at it in layers and looking at it like in orientation.
Hmm.
Um, and for them, how do you think they would feel in their structure if someone came and was like poked them from the side and was a, or they noticed from the side was an advisor, bodyguard, and had tools?
Yeah,
How would they react?
it's
How would they be receptive? What comes to
it's good
mind?
because it's not disruptive,
Hmm.
so that's why it's important. It's not frontal.
Hmm.
Oh, you have to change everything. No, no, no. You keep doing what you're doing, uh, but you're gonna see change
Hmm.
rapidly, not disruptive, but um, rapid evolution.
Rapid evolution. Still thinking about the bodyguard, advisor, and I think about armor. I think about plating. I think about um, maybe even more comfortable clothes. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm thinking in the matter material world um, as an analogy for their security as a company, their stability.
Yeah, yeah. And actually, what I guess really important is employee being able to challenge their bosses,
Hmm.
because I think when this is not happening, this is really a sign that there's something wrong.
Right.
So if the mood is, radical candor, so
Hmm.
you can really say no, it doesn't work.
Hmm.
I don't see that this is a good idea, and this is why, and I really care for us to succeed. So that's why I'm saying that.
Hmm.
From anybody within the business, that's really cool. So not disruptive, but rapid evolution of the mood. By the mood, I mean, the for interaction, they changing.
Okay. Anything else in terms of their stability, the solid world, for their expansion?
I'm wondering, because business leader, they're talking together,
Hmm.
and having them starting to share what they're experiencing with the support,
Hmm.
how much it's important to have a bodyguard as a business,
Right.
um, that have your back, and that they didn't, they cannot think without it now.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
like, yes, you need one.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe
Okay.
that aspect.
Okay. Cool. So next, let's move on to energy invested,
Yeah.
the blue. So you wrote in terms of what energy you're willing to invest, you said all your spare time, and then for them, energy so that they can become the you'd want them to be willing to put in energy to become integrated.
Yes.
So let's first start with energy, like your spare time. You'd want to put in hours or a week, but you want to put in some measurables in there. So how much time are you willing to put in?
Yeah, like now it's really um 9 to 7,
Okay.
fully focused. Um,
How many days a
yeah.
week?
Um, I would say 6 because during the week it's going to be about the business, but during the Saturday it's going to be about the networking and the expansion of the business itself.
Hmm.
So yeah, 6 days, and because I want to keep the let me change the keyboard. So I want to keep Sunday for the kids.
Awesome. And how much time do you think you'd want them to invest in being integrated?
Um, hmm, doesn't require much because yeah, I guess a meeting per week.
One.
So 1 hour per week
Okay.
in terms of when you established. Of course, you need a little bit more at the beginning, but let's say average over the year, 1 hour per week.
Okay. So you want to provide a service that for the company would be 1 hour a week.
Well, just for them to be focused on it. The
Yeah.
rest of the time, I'm gonna work on it. They don't need to work with me on it.
Okay. And
Yeah.
do you know, we don't have to put it in now, but it would be a part of the follow-up with the map, the money and the time. Like you put the time, but overall, how long would it last? Like what's the duration? Those type of metrics.
Yeah, 1 year contract as a minimum,
Great.
and depending also of the type of engagement,
Hmm.
I would say as to monetize it, it would be yeah, several way to do it, right? Several approach, but let's keep it as an employee
Hmm.
for now. It would be if it's in Europe, it's
Hmm.
really different. It change a lot depending.
Right.
Let's say in Germany or France, it would be 1,050K
Hmm.
euro. That would be the annual salary required for it, and that would be just to prove that this is effective. And then after that, it would be 200K,
Okay.
like as executive type, not high end executive, but let's say like
Okay.
investment for the business for sure. But for me, it would be enough to be able to continue to develop.
Okay. Amazing. Next, let's go to balance and energy, the part of feeling and emotion and connection. So you wrote, sorry, was there anything more you wanted to write for the energy invested?
No, not for now, I guess.
Okay. So if you move to
Well,
the green,
I
Mhm.
guess traveling would be a big part of it because I want to be on site.
Okay, great.
Yeah, traveling and business class support. If you want to be able to deliver right when you arrive, it's
Hmm.
not a luxury; it's really required. So that would be also with what they want. They need to. They will need to invest.
Hmm. And anything else?
No, I think that's pretty saying. Keep it simple for now.
Cool. Yeah. So let's go to the green. balancing, enjoying both. So you wrote down the first thing that was important to you was your family working with you.
Yep.
Um, you actually had already mentioned it. I would have asked what the sequence is, and you said Marine and wife, son, daughter. Um,
Yeah.
do you already have an idea of what that is?
Like how we're gonna work
Yeah.
together?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
whether when you're offering it, when you show up to the company, whether they know that's what's happening for you. Do you want them to know that?
Yeah. She's gonna be advertised as a specialist
Mm-hmm.
um, about energy,
Mm-hmm.
and that's really the you know the new side of things, which
Mm-hmm.
usually you don't introduce that into a business. It's more like you don't use that kind of words into a
Yeah,
business environment. But
right.
she she actually what she's gonna do gonna make sense. Um, and that's the main challenge is to really have an integration of all aspects to human. Um, all right, it's back. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was saying, Chinese and countries that are having energy part of their culture. It's
Mm-hmm.
logical for them.
Mm-hmm.
So Maureen would be basically the east part of the world coming to the west.
Great. I think that would be good to put that in there, and maybe in terms of how you visualize and show it, the yin and the yang. Just yin and yang would be like east or west,
Yeah,
which links very much with being integrated.
yeah,
This at the
and
same
sorry.
I was just saying this at the same time brings together the type of companies that fit the profile. So by having this, um, we'll also be able to take this and put it into AI and
Yep.
look for companies that fit this profile.
Mm, yeah, good point. Because then the son would be. I'm not talking about the daughter; she's too young. But the son would be about um, demonstrating that it can work.
Mhm.
By being part of it and enjoying the process. Um, Not sure if that feels right, but basically, it would be not directly seen by the company,
Mhm.
but it would force us within the company or myself as a service provider
Mhm.
to keep in mind that people have children.
Yeah,
And
very good,
so
very good
building a
point.
solution, you know,
Yeah, yeah,
um, it's like a constant reminder. Yes, that makes sense, but hey, did you thought about this? Did you? So it will provide another perspective. So perspective
perfect.
provider. Yeah,
There you go.
which is true for the daughter too.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Yeah. And then for the company,
Hmm.
um, I don't know. It's more a bit more distributed leadership, because for me it's like a lot of pressure at the top and a lot of uh, intelligence. Usually a leader is someone which has I don't know, competitive advantage compared to a regular employee. They have knowledge, they have education, they have obviously stuff that the regular employee doesn't have. But I don't know. It feels like because of this, as much as they are, if it's like we're not using the collective brain enough.
I love that you said that. So this is a point where if we were doing this, let's say 10 years ago, this mind map, it would be interesting. It'd be very useful. But I don't think it would have been as interesting as it is now when we have AI. And the
Yeah.
reason is these executives that you're talking about, their ability, their skill set, a lot of it is now being ingested into AI,
Yeah.
which is the ability to make reasoning, make decisions, high quality decisions, and to have a very wide scope view of the entire company. Whereas the people sometimes working in the company are focused on one task, like we know in VFX. So that means that the power of the executive, which is very high up, is dropping lower. And
Yeah.
it also means that the lower level people that were working in the day to day, they're being optimized by AI. So their level
Hmm.
is coming up. So there's a balancing and a meeting point that needs to be made. And that balancing and that meeting point is either going to be made just in numbers and metrics, or it's going to be made in more human connections, which you mentioned your son's perspective. This is where I feel what you provide is completely different because you can actually visually and tangibly show what balanced life looks like so that the top doesn't feel like they're falling, but rather that they're coming back to heart level.
Yeah.
And the rise doesn't mean the bottom doesn't mean like they're just getting a productivity boost, but also that they're rising up to a more connected level.
Yeah. Yeah. Because it's really sucks to come at work and not being engaged into what you're doing. So it's not
Exactly.
just about performance; it's also about being engaged.
Exactly. And this is where I feel there's like a lot of collaboration is that people have their inner visions, individual, and then there's the company vision.
Yeah.
And those aligned as closely as possible will become essential.
There we go. Yeah. So it's alignment with myself, but alignment with the company and the employee.
Right. Collective brains is a good way of putting it. If when you go over this, when you create your services, if you can put in a way for them to see that it creates a collective brain between employees and the top, that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, and I think it boils down to this exact point. It's like you're seeing your employee as necessary evil,
Mm.
while and there is also a reason for it. Like some employee, they really just think about themselves. They just want to come in, come out, get out, and get their paycheck.
Mhm.
So it's not one responsible. It has to come from both sides, right? They
Right.
need to understand why they're here, and the leadership need to understand that they can trust them more to be partner instead of you know
Coordinate.
uh, yeah, subordinate.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. Great.
because I think that's order doesn't is not really natural. Subordinate. It's nobody is subordinate to anyone.
Right. And it's different it gets confusing in work environments because everyone has different skill sets. Everyone has different strengths, weaknesses, coping mechanisms. Um, Matching your skills to the environment is also another skill set. There's many different variables. This is where AI can come in and really help, is that we stop looking at things as just metrics and numbers, but we start thinking spatially. That means,
Mm.
where are we positioned? Where are we oriented? Do we have the same vision? And then where can we align?
It make me think about a hive
Yeah,
with bees.
yeah,
They, because also they have that dance when they explain where to go just by
hmm,
dancing,
yeah.
and no one is. And I learned recently that 10% of the bees, they're not listening to the dance, and they just go whenever they want, and that's by purpose, so they can also find new places. Those are the explorator. So
Explorers, yeah,
so 90% they go to where they sure they get something, and 10% they still wasting time for for in order to make sure they can find actually a new place, the next new place, right?
right.
And that would be also a good way for business to keep exploring, like what Google is doing when they give 10% of their time to the employee to develop their interest. Uh, for me, that should be everywhere. It's so much, that's a collective brain approach, definitely.
I believe it's on its way now. I think it's on its way now that AI is out. I think it'll just take a matter of time before people understand exactly what's going to happen, because it changes everything.
Yeah.
The ability to take that much data in and to reason with it,
Mm.
which reasoning basically gives your vision, because the how you reason in your mind, it depends on where you're oriented, but it also depends on how you like shoot your arrow.
Mm.
They have a
Yeah.
vision, but the way that they reason won't function. It won't fly through the air in a way. And now they're getting help with that.
Hmm.
The- so that comes to the last part, which is, for yourself, you had a 3-year plan, and you always want to take the intelligent and wise approach. And here we had a little reverse where it started with thinking about how the business would function, where they would be inspiring other businesses.
Yep.
And then that gave you your surge of confidence, knowing that it could work with anyone afterwards, and you could go and support politics.
Yeah. Good point. It it's starting from a really mathematical argument standpoint.
Hmm.
Then what's happening is not necessarily easily measurable.
Hmm.
Like people having more self confidence. How do you measure that, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
But then the result of the business is growing positively,
Right.
but you cannot correlate like one by one.
Right. Right now, we have no measuring tool for abstractions, feelings. We get ratings, like we just put ratings or smiley face, thumbs up, thumbs down. That's all that we have. But once spatial computers and spatial thinking and intelligence comes online, that's going to change.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and one thing for
mhm,
me personally, when I'm engaged, when I'm into it, it's like I'm not tired.
yeah,
There is really sign of my body that I can see that for the same amount of work, if I'm engaged, I can just do it way better than if I don't care about what I'm doing.
right, right. Yeah, I think for everyone, that'll become a metric that that deals with efficiency. People that are
energy
energy.
level.
Yeah,
Really energy level within the body, because I think it's a direct correlation about, do you like what you're doing or not?
exactly.
I mean, I can see that with my son. Whenever I'm asking him to do like the dishwasher, the cleaning the dish, is like deflated.
Yeah.
It's when it's about I don't know, a game or something is really interested by, energy is high. So he exaggerate, right,
Right.
purposely.
Right.
But I think as an adult, it's exactly the same.
Yeah, that's the part in the world where we still have to do things. There's the things that
Yes.
you have to clean, or we accumulate dirt. There are
But
things that in and out that have to function, and we've
yeah,
been working to get machines to do most of those. All the dull, dirty jobs, we've been doing our best to get machines to do them.
and also I think it's because he doesn't see the vision. So as a child, he doesn't care what you know what they're going to provide to the family. It's really about himself. It's normal. But as an adult, I'm enjoying making those tasks because I'm contributing to the family business.
Yeah.
So I think what you're doing here with the map is also has suddenly participate to a vision. Was
Right.
going out.
Yeah.
There you go. It's back. Yeah.
It's back. Yeah. Yeah, cool. So, inspiring other businesses, do you have anything specific you'd want to write for those?
Um, uh, Almost like a new business model.
Awesome.
Yeah. Uh, yeah. That matched a new level of consciousness, I would say.
Hmm.
But not magically out of the blue. It's really just because people are taking responsibility of the environment. So consciousness. Is that right?
CON, no you.
All right. Conscious.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that would be really important because business is like profits, right? It's not the business what matter the most. It's how you do business.
Hmm. Uh, and what about for yourself in terms of supporting politics?
Um, mm, mm, mm. So that would be in the sustainable alignment focused.
I just
Uh,
wanted to explore it quickly, but I want to say that normally in this map, the last
yeah,
part, the last thing that's left is very often the vision. And we get an idea generally of where it goes, but we leave that also for surprise.
I see.
The reason
Yeah,
is once you get to the point where the service that you've provided for others becomes clear and is tangible, it just opens up a whole other new box of surprises in terms of what you can do. So
yeah,
it's good that
yeah,
we just tapped on it, but that's probably where the most fun will be. Like you'll see what'll happen once.
yeah, yeah. And I can see that it's one of my way to contribute to the world I want to live in. So
Mhm.
business for me is the core of it because that's what people are doing most of the time,
Mhm.
working
Mhm.
in a business. So if we change that or if we make that evolve, a lot will evolve too around.
Mhm.
And after supporting politics or by supporting politics, it's really about uh, yeah, um, uniting uniting countries, almost like creating the humanity,
Mhm.
as a group,
Mhm.
because that would be, if yeah, what's the term? The thing that replicate infinitely, the fractal.
Fractal, yeah.
So if you're able to do that in a business, then you continue, and then you expand to every aspect of it, and then there is no reason why it could not have like a virtuous cycle.
Exactly. Exactly. That's perfect. Um, we've covered almost all the aspects with two layers. So normally, what we would do here is we would grab the AI recording of this, and I know you're very skilled with it now, to bring it into Claude or Chat or whatever you're using now, and start writing out profiles for you and for the company, as
Yeah.
well as the first draft of the service list,
Yep.
and making sure that it gives you a journey map for the four main properties that you wrote.
Mm. Yeah, because we actually explore the pillars or the base of the whole thing.
Yeah. And then I think like AI is so good right now at this point, you could use it to give you suggestions for scheduling, for habits, for, if you put it into Notion, I have a feeling you're going to do something magical with it. You're using it more than I am.
Well, it's actually really good because I'm here in an hotel room because tomorrow I have a business meeting within the
Uh-huh.
business,
Uh-huh.
which is about the future of my position and how we're going to support the teams and all that. So it's right timing.
Amazing. Cool. Awesome. So,
And it's providing me clarity also a lot. Just having that as 'cause it just gives you direction. Yeah, I think it's really the pathway is a really good point. I can see almost like a direction and
and now that we've looked at it, the last stage is going and looking once more at the map and really looking at it again like it's a person and then it's you. And then I want you to feel what it would be like for the business or the company to have someone beside them, have the energy and the balance behind on the right side, and also in front of them in their field of view, they see the vision, the 3 years, the air. Is there anything you want to change?
yeah, I think they will need to be um, a bit more visible, maybe.
Hmm.
Yeah, but not that way, maybe. Yeah, keeping an eye on the back, but maybe another angle and
Hmm.
closer to it, and those two. So, oops, the green would be Yeah, this one is for them both, and the energy. Yeah, it would be more like next to each other, really, really, really close because it's important. Just don't know how to put them. Yeah, say like this. The energy is fueling the balance, and then but now it doesn't see directly. So yeah, something like this.
Okay, that's good. That's great. I'm glad you moved it because I'm looking at it now and it has a different vibe than when we first started.
Yeah, just those two maybe in more side by side. It's weird that they go into each other.
Mhm.
Yeah, still like this. Because you don't need to see that. It's underlying forces. So they are in the back.
Great.
Yeah.
So
This one.
you want to feed that as well into the AI or the plan that when you're creating something for them, you want to make sure that they see what they see, and only if they turn around and make an effort, they notice the other two things. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So it's got to be for them, the fit has to be that they see your vision, new business model that matches new consciousness, and they want that and they're willing to move and use energy towards it.
Yeah. Yeah, the energy invested should be actually should be more upfront.
There you go.
Oops. Here we go. Yeah, I'm not sure how to put that. Yeah, like you have to put that in to reach that goal. Yeah, maybe close to me too. Yeah.
Remember that the energy right now is facing the vision. So what they'll see when they look at you is the energy you are investing in the vision.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah. It's actually all about the vision. Yeah.
Okay, great. So this map is something that we could probably revisit again, and it would probably come after I guess, your next meeting, and we could look it over and see how it went and
Yeah.
whether we need to move things around, adjust after this. But to me, it
Yeah,
seems
because
pretty solid.
I guess it's a reference you want to revisit regularly.
Mhm. It's like a little chess game, but it's not
Yeah.
winning. It's more um, alignment than one side versus the other. It's more finding the best fit.
Yeah. Yeah, and forcing you to have another perspective on things,
Right.
which is really good.
Cool.
I, I like the I like this one, the collective brain. That's really a breakthrough.
Nice. Good. I'm looking forward to seeing what you do with this, what you map out of this with the tools that you have. It's cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That would be it for the first version of this journey map. Yeah, thanks for going through it and sharing all that.
Well, I think it gives a sense of how this could be useful for an individual. But I guess you can do that also for a group, right? Or for a business perspective.
Yeah. Normally, I do this with people's. it's usually like you're taking on an opportunity, but people come often with a conflict. And that's where
Yeah.
conflict, it's too many pieces to look at by themselves. And talking without a visual doesn't always help, I'll say. And when you have a
Yeah.
map of it and you can see it and you remember it, it's very different. It gives you a different sense of energy when you have to deal with it. Yeah. Cool. So
100%.
I'll stop the recording here.
Yep.
Did you anything you want to say for the end?
Thank you.
Welcome. Thank you as well. Well, hold on. Let's stop.